What's up, guys? Coach George in the Mecca of boxing in Orange County, ChampCom Boxing Academy. Today's lesson, we're going over a little bit of offense. We're going over the right hook and the left hook. So let's go and get started. So we'll start with the right hook. Now, when you throw your right hook, first we gotta get in your stance. From your stance, all you're gonna do to throw the right hook is you're gonna start with the foot. You're gonna pivot your foot, rotate your hips and shoulders over. You're gonna lift your elbow up, and boom, just rotate all the way through. Make sure you turn the hips and shoulders over, and make sure when you throw your hook, your forearm is parallel with the floor, your chin is tucked in kind of by your shoulder, and palm facing you, thumb up. All right, and then you come back. So let me show you again. Boom, and boom. Let me show you from the side. So again, pivot that back foot, rotate your body, just like you did in the bob video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. So it's almost like a bob to the left. Same mechanics. Only thing that changes is I lift my elbow up on this one. Now when I'm throwing it, I want to imagine like I'm almost trying to hit this shoulder here. Right there. I'm kind of aiming for here. Now if I were to miss the right hook, for example, if I throw a hook, my opponent ducks or weaves under it, I want my elbow pretty much pointing at my opponent. Or if I'm practicing in front of a mirror, I want my elbow pointing right at my face. And then you come back. Boom, and back. Okay? Now, before I get over on the left hook, I want to explain why it's important to throw the hooks with your palms up. Now, whenever you're making contact on someone and you throw a punch, whether it be a straight punch or a hook, you always want to make sure to land with the first two knuckles. Those are the biggest knuckles and they're the strongest. You never want to land with the pinky knuckles because then you'll end up breaking your hand. That's known as a boxer's fracture. Now, when you throw a hook, and let's say you throw like a long hook, like from a distance, and you throw with your palm down, you're more likely to make contact with the pinky side of your fist instead of the two knuckles over here, the index and middle, which is going to cause a break in your hand, and then you can't continue in the fight. But when you have your thumb up or palm facing you, even if I throw a hook from way out here, I can still make sure I make contact with those first two knuckles right there. All right. Now there are situations when you do want to throw a hook with your palm down. That's a short hook, and that's usually when you're inside the pocket, right inside with your opponent. Going toe to toe. Then it's okay to throw a hook with your palm down because I can make sure that when it lands, I land with those first two knuckles right here. Boom, right there. Pop. Pop. Okay. So that's why you want to throw them thumbs up, palms facing you. So now let's go over the left hook. Now the left hook is probably the hardest punch to learn in boxing. So if you don't get it right away, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing and you will get better as long as you practice. So to throw the left hook, part of the reason why it's difficult to throw is it requires a load up. Most punches on the left side or your lead side punches, so if you're a southpaw, your right hand punches, orthodox left hand punches, usually require a load up except for the jab. So your body hooks, your hooks to the head, and your uppercuts all require a load up. How do we load up? Well, we use the bob drill we did earlier in a previous video. So if you don't know how to bob, make sure you check that video out. So on the load up, you bob towards the left. Now all my weight is shifted on this front foot over here. And notice how my head is right above my knee, above the foot. It's not past it. I'm right here, so that way I'm nice and centered and balance. If my head goes further out, I get off balance, and then it's hard to throw off a punch, and it's a good opportunity for your opponent to beat you up. So from here, that load up, all I'm doing is I'm shifting my weight back to that back foot. So it's just like the bob, boom, right there. It's the same mechanics as the bob, but all I do is I lift my elbow up and rotate my body. So I bob, I load up for the hook, and then I come back, boom, right there. Notice how everything, my hips, knees, shoulders, everything kind of moves together at the same time. Boom, right there, everything's synced in. So it's very important to have a strong core and keep that core tight when you're doing this one to time the rotation of the hips and shoulders. And when you throw it, you want to shift all the way to that back foot. So almost want to stomp down. You almost want to make your heel hit the floor at the same time the punch lands. So if I'm here and I throw the hook and boom, that's when I make contact. Load up. Boom, right there, okay? When's a good opportunity to use the left hook? Well, it's a great punch to use as a counter off the straight right. So if your opponent is throwing the straight right at you, you can bob out the way so the punch is gonna go right over your right shoulder, And when you bob, you're already loaded up perfectly for that left hook. So as he's bringing his hand back, boom, you catch him right before he brings that hand back to his face. So if your opponent's doing this, as it's coming back, bam, they get hit with that lead hook. So make sure you gotta time it properly, and it's a good way to hide the hook. Because technically, if I do this, my opponent will see that left hook coming. So I like to do it as a counter, kind of hide that load up, boom, as a counter. Another way you could use a left hook is to follow up your counter punches. So let's say you throw a straight right, boom, or you land your punch straight right. You can always follow up with the left hook, because when you throw your straight right, it's the same as a load up as a bob to the left, which loads you up for that left hook. So from here, all I do is shift the weight back to that back foot again. So straight right, left hook. All right, so for the left hook, when you load up, technically that is telegraphing, right? Your opponent's gonna see that coming here, and then boom, so they may be able to time it or throw a check hook as you load up. If you check out Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton, Mayweather knocked out Ricky Hatton with the check hook. And how did he do it? Well, he timed Ricky Hatton's rhythm. Every time Ricky Hatton was about to throw a hook, he'd load up and throw the hook. So Mayweather timed it. As he loaded up, Mayweather, boom, threw the check hook, causing Ricky Hatton to land into the corner and get knocked out. So ways to hide that load up, you could use the left hook as a counter. So instead of just leading with the hook, loading up and throwing a hook, you throw it after my opponent throws a straight right. So if my opponent throws a straight right, I can bob out the way. Now I'm already loaded perfectly for that left hook counter. Boom, right there. Another way you can hide the left hook is with the straight right. So if you throw a combination, so you throw your straight right, boom, you're already loaded up perfectly for that left hook. Because remember, the straight right, when you throw it, it's the same as a bob towards the left or a load up for the hook. So a good way to hide it is boom, occupy your opponent's hands with that straight right, so now they're covered up here, leaving the left side or the right side of their face exposed for that left hook punch right there, and knock them out with that one. Now, there are variations of the hook. Earlier I mentioned how you can throw with your palm down when you're in the pocket. There's also what's called the flag hook. Now, flag hook is it's not a power punch. It's used more as a setup punch to set up either the straight right or uppercut or any other power punch you're trying to land. The way you throw the flag hook is you just throw it straight from your guard. So there's no load up, you just whip your hips and then whip your upper body. So it's just a slight turn of the hips, slight turn of the shoulders, and you kind of sling your arm out like a whip. So it's here, whop, 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 okay? You can get good power off it if you practice it, but again, it's not a power shot. If you want to really hurt someone with the left hook, you want to do the load up, boom, and when you throw it. But if not, if you're just trying to set up other punches or whatever, you can just throw the flag hook right there. It's a good one to use. I'll explain later for another video. But now, common mistakes with the hook is throwing them with your forearm not parallel with the floor, kind of throwing it angled. Now, when you throw your hooks angled like that, here or here, puts a lot of strain on the shoulder joints, on the rotator cuff muscle specifically. So if I throw a right hook here with my forearm, with proper form parallel with the floor, notice how my joints are pretty much in line with each other, stacked up. My wrist, my elbow, my shoulder, they're all in line right there. Now, if I throw with my forearm angled downwards or my elbow down, as I throw and I continue to rotate, see how my arm kind of externally rotates? That puts a lot of stress on the infraspinatus. It's a rotator cuff muscle that's attached over here, wraps around in front of the shoulder. And when you throw them that way over time, you're going to end up with like tendonitis, or you might tear that muscle, and then you're not going to be able to lift your arms or throw hooks or box at all, which is going to be a bummer. So make sure when you throw your hooks, keep those forearms parallel with the floor. Another mistake people do is not pivoting the feet. So make sure you turn your feet on those hooks. You're going to get much more power. You're going to be able to shift your weight a lot more efficiently, which will allow you to get out the way or throw any other follow-up punches. So make sure when you're throwing your hooks, you turn that foot out on both the right hook and the left hook. All right, so you should be able to see, if you're wearing Adidas or Nikes, whatever, you should be able to see the outside emblem of your shoe every time you pivot. Right there, boom, and boom, right hook, left hook. It's another mistake.
dropping your hands when you're throwing the hooks.
Oh yeah, milking the cow. Yeah, that's something. Or stirring the milk, stirring the pot. Either one works. You never want to do that because one, you'll see it coming. That's another way of telegraphing. If I'm boxing Sean and I'm milking the cow every time I throw a hook, which is this, dropping my hand, he's gonna be able to time me with a hook inside as I throw it. So you always want to make sure you throw your hooks from your chin. Boom. Right hook, left hook. Never like this, like that. You know, they're gonna see that punch coming a mile away. They're gonna be able to weave and counter and knock you out. So yeah, no milking the cow, no hand drops, none of that. You don't have to do that. It's not necessary. If you watch me, look from my chin right here, and I just rotate my body and then lift my elbow up, boom, and come back. Same thing with the left hook. I load it up, and then straight from here, from my guard, I just pick up the elbow and then rotate my body over, like so. What other mistakes or variations are there? Oh yeah. Hooks. I want to go back to talking about throwing the hook with your thumb up, palm facing you. Another good reason to throw it that way is you can throw a hook much further away with your palm facing up. You can still make contact with those knuckles. Whereas if you throw it with your palm down and you throw like a long hook, you're more likely to land with the thumb, and then you end up breaking your thumb, and then you can't continue the fight. So another reason why you want that thumb up or palm facing you. And like I said earlier, the only time you want to throw with your palm down is if you're in the pocket, because that way you can make sure those knuckles land on your opponent. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, cool. And that's the right hook and the left hook. Boom!